Hello and welcome to K News. This is Hardik Trivedi. Let's have a look what is happening in India and in the world. Lebanese President Michael Aoun said there are two possibilities behind Tuesday's blast, either negligence or external inventions by missiles or a bomb. Aoun said on Friday that he asked France for satellite images to see if there were warplanes or missiles in the air at that time of the blast. The blast is believed to have been caused when a fire touched off 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate that had been stored at the port since it was taken from an impounded ship in 2013. The cause for the initial fire is not known. Aoun told journalists that he received information on July 20 about the stored material and immediately ordered military and security officials to do what was necessary. He did not elaborate. He said several governments in charge since 2013 received warnings about the material. He said the investigation is concentrating on 20 persons. He rejected an international investigation into the blast, saying that will make us lose the truth. Mahinda Rajapaksa will be sworn in as Sri Lanka's Prime Minister for the fourth time on Sunday after his party registered a landslide victory in the general election, securing two-thirds majority in parliament needed to amend the constitution to further consolidate the powerful Rajapaksa family's grip on power. The Sri Lanka's People's Party, led by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, won in 145 constituencies, bagging a total of 150 seats with its allies, a two-third majority in the 225-member parliament, according to the results announced by the Election Commission on Friday. It won all but 4 of the 22 electoral districts on offer, polling 6.8 million votes. The 74-year-old Prime Minister Mahinda thanked the Sri Lankan people for putting their faith in the SLPP and said that the country will not stand disappointed during its tenure. Mahinda will be sworn in as the new Prime Minister for the fourth time on Sunday at a ceremony at the historic Buddhist temple of Kelania, a North Colombo suburb, according to an official statement. He created a record in polling over 5 lakh individual preference votes, the highest ever recorded by a candidate in the history of elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was among the first world leaders to congratulate Mahinda on the outcome of the elections and said the two sides will work together to further advance all areas of bilateral cooperation and to take their spatial ties to ever newer heights. Iran is urging the United Nations to hold the United States accountable for the interception of an Iranian passenger plane by 2 US fighter jets in the skies over Syria last month, which it called an unlawful act. Iran's UN ambassador Majid Takht Ravanchi said in identical letters to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the UN Security Council circulated Friday that Iran expresses its strongest objections against this violation of international law and will pursue the issue through relevant international bodies. Ravanchi said a Mahan Airlines Airbus A310 en route from Tehran to Beirut on July 23 was aggressively and unexpectedly intercepted by 2 US F-15 fighter jets while traveling through internationally specified air corridors in Syria's airspace. In reaction to the offensive and hazardous maneuvering of the United States fighter jets and in order to save civil aircraft and passengers' lives, the airliner had to change attitude abruptly, causing injuries to the passengers on board, the ambassador said. U.S. Navy Captain Bill Urban, a Central Command spokesman, told the Associated Press at the time of the incident that a U.S. F-15 conducted a standard visual inspection of the Iranian plane at a safe distance of approximately 1,000 meters from the airliner. He said the inspection was meant to ensure the safety of U.S. coalition troops in Al-Tanf in Syria as the plane was flying over that area. He said once the aircraft was identified as a passenger plane, the F-15 safely opened distance from the aircraft. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has asserted his government will implement dollar-for-dollar retaliatory measures after US President Donald Trump announced new tariffs on imports of Canadian aluminium. Canada and the United States have had bitter exchanges over tariffs imposed by the latter on steel and aluminium, but most issues appear to have been resolved with the new United States-Mexico-Canada Regional Free Trade Deal to replace the older NAFTA coming into existence this year. However, Trump used the stage of an election rally in Ohio to announce that Washington will impose a 10% tariff on Canadian aluminium, to which Trudeau replied in a tweet saying in response to the American tariffs announced today, Canada will impose countermeasures that will include dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs. The Canadian Prime Minister did not specify what shape and which sectors the countermeasures will impact, but his stand was mirrored by that of Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who made the same point in a statement released by her office. Canadian aluminium does not undermine U.S. national security. Canadian aluminium strengthens U.S. national security and has done so for decades through unparalleled cooperation between our two countries, she added. The tariff war between the neighboring nations comes as a repeat of events of 2018, when Canada had retaliated by imposing $16.6 billion worth of tariffs on American products entering the country. The Prime Minister of Mauritius has declared a state of environmental emergency and appealed to France for urgent assistance as oil from a grounded cargo ship spilled unabated into the island nation's protected waters. Rough seas have hampered efforts to stop fuel leaking from the bulk carrier MV Wakashio, which ran aground 2 weeks ago and is polluting pristine waters in an ecologically critical marine area of the southeast coast. A state of environmental emergency has been declared. Prime Minister Pravind Jagannath posted on his Twitter account late Friday. The tanker, belonging to a Japanese company but Panamanian flagged, was carrying 3,800 tons of fuel when it struck the reef of Pointe DMC, an internationally listed conservation site near the turquoise waters of the Blue Bay Marine Park. The Environment Ministry announced this week that oil had begun seeping from the hull as volunteers rushed to the coast to prepare for the worst. Soon oil sicked the coral reefs, lagoons and white sand shores upon which Mauritius had built its reputation as a green tourism destination. Aerial images showed the scale of the damage, with huge stretches of azure seas stained inky black by the spill. A spokesman at Mitsui O.S.K. Lines, which operates the vessel owned by another Japanese company, said fuel was being airlifted by helicopter from the stricken bulker to shore, but poor weather was complicating matters. An Air India Express flight from Dubai with 190 people on board overshot the runway at Kozhikode Airport on Friday in rainy conditions and went down 35 feet into a slope before breaking up into two pieces, Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said. Approximately 18 people lost their lives in the accident. Expressing deep anguish and distress, Puri said relief teams from Air India and Airport Authority of India are being immediately dispatched from Delhi and Mumbai. The Air India Express flight number AXB 1344 on its way from Dubai to Kozhikode with 191 passengers on board overshot the runway in rainy conditions and went down 35 feet into a slope before breaking up into two pieces, he said. In a tweet later, he said as per the flight manifest, there were 190 people on flight AXB 1344, including 174 adult passengers, 10 infants, 4 cabin crew and 2 pilots. Unfortunately, 18 people have lost their lives. I offered my heartfelt condolences to their next of kin and pray for speedy recovery for the injured. He said a formal inquiry will be conducted by AAIB. The ministry said the B737 aircraft overshot the runway at 7:41 p.m. on Friday, but no fire was reported at the time of landing. The Air India Express is a wholly owned subsidiary of Air India and it has only B737 aircraft in its fleet. Girish Chandra Murmu was assumed office as the Comptroller and Auditor General of India from August 8, 2020, an official statement said on Saturday. Earlier in the morning, the former Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor was sworn in as the Controller and Auditor General at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Murmu made and subscribed to the oath of office before President Ramnath Kovind, according to a Rashtrapati Bhavan statement. A former bureaucrat, Murmu is a 1985 batch IAS officer of Gujarat cadre. His tenure as the new CAG will be up to November 20, 2024. He succeeds Rajiv Maharshi, who demitted office on Friday. The office of the CAG said in the statement. As a constitutional functionary, the CAG is primarily entrusted with the responsibility of auditing the accounts of the central and state governments. The CAG reports are laid before Parliament and legislatures of the states. While being administered the oath of office and secrecy at Rashtrapati Bhavan this morning, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, outgoing CAG Maharshi were among the dignitaries present. It's time for a short break. We will join you in a short while.
వేసవి అవుతుంది ఫన్ with the cooler number one. ఇక చేసుకో more fun ఉంటే cooler number one. ఇక don't run from the sun ఉంటే Kelsta number one. दीवाना 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 इतना सुंदर जैसे कोई सपना सुहाना दीवाना दीवाना
कटारिया टाइल्स जो देखे वो दीवाना।
Welcome back to K News and thank you for watching. Let's continue the streak of news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch a financing facility of ₹1 lakh crore under the Agricultural Infrastructure Fund through a video conference on Sunday. He will also release the sixth installment of funds under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana scheme. A statement from the PMO said the PM will launch a financing facility of rupees 1 lakh crore under the Agricultural Infrastructure Fund on August 9 at 11 am via video conferencing. He will also release the sixth installment of funds of rupees 17,000 crore to 8.5 crore farmers under the PM Kisan scheme. The event will be witnessed by lakhs of farmers, cooperatives and citizens across the country. Union Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Shri Narendra Singh Tomar, will also be present on the occasion, the statement said. It further said that the fund would bring about the creation of post-harvest management infrastructures and community farming assets such as cold storage, collection centers and processing units. The assets will enable farmers to get greater value for their produce as they will be able to store and sell at higher prices, reduce wastage and increase processing and value addition. Rupees 1 lakh crore will be sanctioned under the financing facility in partnership with multiple lending institutions. The beneficiaries of the scheme will include farmers, PACS, joint liability groups, multipurpose cooperative societies, agri-entrepreneurs, startups, and central or state agency or local body sponsor public-private partnership projects. The statement said. A popular global flight tracker website indicates that the Air India Express plane that skidded on the runway at Kerala's Kozhikode tried to land at least twice at the tabletop airport. Flight Radar 24, a Swedish firm that shows real-time commercial flight tracking information on a map, indicated that the Boeing 737NG that came from Dubai with 190 people on board tried to land twice. Kozhikode Airport is a tabletop airport, Junior External Affairs Minister V. Muralidharan tweeted. A tabletop runway is a runway on the top of a plateau or hill with one or both ends adjacent to a steep elevation which drops into a gorge. Such an airport presents a challenging condition for landing. 18 people, including both the pilots, died in the crash. All on board have been evacuated and at least 92 injured, including 15 in serious condition, have been taken to hospital, authorities said. The last major plane crash in India was in 2010 when an Air India Express Boeing 737-800 from Dubai to Mangalore overshot the runway and burst into flames. The crash killed 158 people and left 8 survivors. Kerala has been battered by heavy rains in recent days. Serum Institute of India said on Friday it would receive $150 million in funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and GAVI Vaccines Alliance to make 100 million COVID-19 vaccine doses for India and other emerging economies as early as 2021. The candidate vaccine, including those from AstraZeneca and Novavax, will be priced at $3 per dose and will be made available in 92 countries in GAVI's COVAX Advanced Market Commitment, the company said in a statement. The Gates Foundation will provide the funds to GAVI, which will be used to support Serum Institute. GAVI, backed by the Gates Foundation, is a public-private global health partnership with the goal of increasing access to immunization in poor countries. Its co-leads COVAX, a scheme designed to guarantee fast and equitable access globally to COVID-19 vaccines, along with the World Health Organization and the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation. COVAX aims to deliver 2 billion doses of approved and effective COVID-19 vaccines by the end of 2021. India reported a record jump in daily coronavirus infections on Friday and became the third country in the world to surpass 2 million cases. It lags only the United States and Brazil in the number of infections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi encouraged school children to adopt a hygienic way of living while linking its importance to containing the coronavirus pandemic while inaugurating the Rashtriya Swachhata Kendra. The initiative is an interactive experience center on Swachh Bharat mission established in Delhi to showcase various aspects of the flagship social change drive undertaken by the NDA government in its first term between 2014 and 2019. I am happy to see that you are interested in issues of cleanliness, he told a group of 36 school kids who were picked to represent the 36 states and UTs of the Indian federal state. We have to step out and carry out our business and still safeguard ourselves from corona. For this, we have to wear masks, maintain 6 feet distance and avoid spitting in the open, PM Modi told the children. Earlier, the PM watched a short video on Swachh Bharat mission at the Rashtriya Swachhata Kendra. He also went through a 360-degree audio-visual show which narrates the sanitation journey in a story form. The 11 zones at the center represent the 5 years journey of the Swachh Bharat mission from 2014 to 2019, depicting the behavioral change brought up in 6 lakh villages for giving up open defecation practice. This is often described as the largest behavior change campaign in the history of the world. Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani is now the 4th richest person in the world, according to Bloomberg. With a total net worth of 80.6 billion, Mukesh Ambani was ranked 4th in the billionaire index on Saturday, August 8. Mr. Ambani was behind Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos, who has a net worth of $187 billion. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates with $121 billion and Facebook co-founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg with $102 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, which is a daily ranking of the world's richest people. According to Bloomberg, Mr. Ambani's net worth increased by 326 million to reach 80.6 billion as of August 8. His total net worth has increased by 22 billion so far this year. Oil to telecom conglomerate Reliance Industries shares have broken a series of records over the past few weeks, boosted by a series of investments in its digital services arm Jio platforms. The market capitalization of Reliance Industries, the country's most valuable company, stood at rupees 13.61 lakh crore at the end of trade on Friday. Reliance Industries is now in its golden decade, Mr. Ambani had said in June. The same month, he entered the group of world's 10 richest people. Has his group become net debt-free, way ahead of its target of March 2021? I have fulfilled my promise to the shareholders by making Reliance net debt-free much before our original schedule of 31st March 2021, he said as his group reached the milestone. Rajasthan is experiencing a jobs bonanza amid the raging coronavirus disease pandemic and the political uncertainty surrounding the ruling Congress government in the desert state. as Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has approved 7,624 government jobs in 3 departments in the last few days. The CM has also directed the officials to create posts for Village Development Officer and Block Development Officer for the 1,456 and 57 new Gram Panchayats and Panchayat Samitis respectively. SAC Deputy CM Sachin Pilot, who is engaged in a bitter power tussle with CM Gehlot and enjoys the backing of 18 rebel Congress lawmakers, was handling the Rural Development Ministry. Gehlot has approved 6,310 new hires in the Health Department and 98 and 326 in Animal Husbandry and Police respectively. The CM also approved the additional budget provision of rupees 20.72 crore for strengthening of 294 subdivision offices in the state by creating 588 additional posts. The new posts for information assistant and junior assistant will be deputed at each subdivision office. The CM gave financial and administrative approval to the proposal to fill 326 vacant posts of Class 4 employees in the police department through direct recruitment. Meanwhile, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the main opposition in the state, has taken credit for CM Gehlot's announcement for new job openings across government departments. 6 BSP MLAs in Rajasthan who merged with the Congress in September last year have approached the Supreme Court seeking to transfer their disqualification case to the top court. The MLAs in their petition said they want a petition filed in the Rajasthan High Court seeking their disqualification for alleged defiance of the BSP's whip in favor of the Congress to be transferred to the Supreme Court. A single bench of the Rajasthan High Court will next week hear the BSP and BJP's petition against the merger of the 6 BSP MLAs with Congress in Rajasthan. An appeal by the party led by former Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Mayawati seeking a temporary freeze on the merger of its 6 former legislators with Rajasthan's Congress government was dismissed by the High Court, which left the decision to the single bench hearing the case. The decision expected on August 11 will have crucial implications for the Ashok Gehlot government, which is struggling to hold on its majority in face of the rebellion by Sachin Pilot and 18 loyalist MLAs. In their petition, the MLAs said identical questions raised before the Rajasthan High Court is pending in the Supreme Court. High Court as well as Supreme Court ought not to examine whether there is a merger of BSP with Congress, but must only examine whether Speaker of the Rajasthan Assembly has satisfied himself within the contours of the top court judgment in 1992 in Kyoto Hollowan case, the MLA said. That's all for now. Keep watching K News. This is Hardik Trivedi taking your leave. Be alert, be positive, be safe.